the mid-60s in America, when you think about the government, what I think about is the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and its director, J.Edgar Hoover. And particularly when we're talking about black nationalists, or even a moderate civil rights leader like the Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King. The FBI saw Dr. King as a threat. They saw the Supreme Court of the United States as a threat. You had Earl Warren, who actually came to the court as a Republican, and then started ruling in ways that Hoover was frightened about. So what the FBI was doing at the time, in my opinion, they were fairly lawless. The Attorney General was not in control of the FBI at that time. There was rampant warrantless buggings of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, of black nationalists, folks in the civil rights movement, and the justification that the Bureau had was that they were communist inspired. And so if they would claim that, then Attorney Generals going back to Bobby Kennedy, everyone thinks of him as a liberal, and with respect to the way they let Hoover do what he wanted to do at that time, he was no liberal. As long as they waved the flag of communism, they would bug, wiretap warrantlessly King, folks in the black nationalist movement, and they were vicious. And so let's broaden the scope, getting back to the Supreme Court. I mean, it got so bad that they used Justice Abe Fortas, a good liberal, friend of the president. They used him as an FBI informant on the court to help J.Edgar Hoover and help the president, LBJ, blame Bobby Kennedy for these warrantless buggings and wiretappings that were about to explode and get Hoover into trouble. So they talked to Abe Fortas. They had a breakfast meeting with him. The third in command, Deke DeLoach, shows up at Fortas's house and says, you may find this unethical. Find it unethical. It was the worst ethical lapse of any justice in the history of the Supreme Court, because he became a snitch. Or in jail, you call them rats. Is he a rat? Is he a snitch? He was an informant. He went into the conference room, and this was 1966, and it's all documented in FBI files and in Fortas's own files at Yale. You have a Supreme Court justice snitching on his brethren, and they were all men, telling the FBI and telling LBJ what the other justices were talking about, and then lobbying them in a case that he disqualified himself. And these cases, they included cases against Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, again, warrantless wiretapping, Jimmy Hoffa, the labor leader. They were doing it because they claimed he was mob influenced. So again, if you raise the flag of being in the mob or communism, you can treat people like the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, or anyone else for that matter, up and including the Supreme Court. They were issuing opinions that Hoover thought were helping the communists and helping criminal defendants. So this lawless FBI at that time was doing incredible damage to the civil rights movement and the black national movement. So it was a really dark time that's more reminiscent of what people think of what happened in the Soviet Union with the KGB, because there wasn't any limits on them. And over time, that changed. going into the Watergate years, and after Watergate there was investigations, but it was really a dark time.